Hey folks, it's your pal Mike Shea from slyflourish.com and twitter.com/slyflourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy D&D Prep. This is a weekly show shot 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Times. I didn't have any of my images right. Shot 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays, in which I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, over there, while preparing for my Eberron game, for my D&D. Ooh, Eberron, look at that. Eberrrrron. That's not right. Let's fix that real quick here. Done. And, oh, we're going to have to fix it over here too. Let's just go over here and copy that and go in here. Delete Eberron. There's only one E, one R. Fast typing. There we go. Better. Since I'm monkeying around, I might as well fix that too. All right. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Times on Sundays, in which I prepare for my Sunday D&D game using steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. This show is brought to you by the Sly Flourish patrons at patreon.com/slyflourish. If you want to help out with shows like this and help out with the website and help out with all the other bits of infrastructure that it takes to keep the Sly Flourish empire going, you can do so by supporting Sly Flourish on Patreon. Patrons of Sly Flourish get access to a monthly newsletter in which I go through a summary of all of the different stuff that's come out on Sly Flourish and also any other big thoughts that I have, as well as access to a adventure that is only available there called Regnum Ratus, the Rats in the Cellar. This is a 1 to 5 intro adventure in which the characters visit an old friend who is running an inn and find out why the rats in his cellar are going crazier and crazier, and explore the depths of the tunnels and caverns and catacombs beneath and discover there's quite a bit more than rats going on down there. It's a fun adventure, and it's got a professional map and all kinds of great stuff. So you can get access to that by being a backer of Sly Flourish on patreon.com. So, Eberron. Yeah, so yesterday I ran an Avernus game. That was a lot of fun. We did well. They got through the Cult of the Dead, Dungeon of the Dead 3. And last week in my Eberron game, they finished exploring and dealing with the vaults of Leto Skal. So Leto Skal is a gold ring member of the Aurum who is has vaults and has financed many expeditions to look at my crazy hair to explore Zendrek and find powerful items from Zendrek, including a huge dragon shard, a huge Eberron dragon shard that could be used to create a very powerful weapon. And the various people are worried that that is going to happen. So the characters have been, our patron in this circumstance is House Tharask and the Finders Guild, and they want to try to get a hold of this stuff before any evil people do. Not because it's necessarily the best thing to do in the world, but because it's better to be where the puck is going to be than where it was before. So they are in the process of recovering a bunch of artifacts. So they found out a bunch about Leto Skal. They rescued a imprisoned mimic spy named Simon. Thank you to the chat for Simon the Mimic. And then they returned to their home base, which is a fine little, they have sort of a coffee shop. I think a couple of assassins that came after them have now turned into baristas at the coffee shop, as happens in D&D games. And where is the where are locations? There we go. Name of the place is the Cafe Obscura. And so they went back there and they laid out all of the different things that they had discovered and said, where do we want to go next? And I dropped a few different potential areas that they could go, including going to Tower 6 of Morgrave University to acquire the Tome of Kolsir, going and talking to a agent of the Dask, which I don't think was brought to them. So I think that it's time for me to introduce the Dask to them. Recover the insignia of the Claws from the fallen temple of Balinor, and investigate the Northern Wind, a ship that brought back the Dragon Shard from Zendrek and is sitting abandoned in the docks. So they could discover more about what happened in Zendrek. So they have a few more potential options to go. I dropped these options in front of them, except for the meeting the agent of the Cogs. And they they decided, so I had one player who was certainly interested in visiting the fallen temple of Balinor. It was his, he was like really, as soon as he heard there was a temple of Balinor, he wanted to go to the temple of Balinor. So I said, well, we'll make that an option and I'll go wire it up. And I did. And so he chose that and everyone else said, yeah, sure. So they are headed to the temple of Balinor to recover the insignia of claws, an artifact that was held by the temple of Balinor. So that is today's session. However, I think that the strong start is going to be meeting probably a shifter from the desk. I can't remember did this group kill all the manticores, or did one of them get away? I think one of the manticores got away. So maybe she'll come riding in on a manticore and leave it like in front of their street, and everybody kind of leaves it alone because they know that she is tied to the desk. That would be that kind of good sort of, organized crime sort of thing. So we have a young girl. Let's see. I don't think they've met one already. It might be kind of neat to tie the young girl to one of the characters. So let's take a look. Let's start with our characters. Switch to notes. Thank you. I forgot. I'm sorry. You're just going to sit there and stare at the Lazy DM screen. So, good morning, everybody, by the way. Hello, Mom. He's not your problem. Everybody, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming today. So let's start with the characters. So the characters are Arwen Zizu, a scribing gnome artificer. Father was a famous hero. Has a dodecahedron from her father in Zendrak. That is definitely going to be important. I think that the artifact that she is holding needs to be a prime device of the story. I think that would be very cool. And I think, let's see, House Civis. So I think that will be cool. That I have a secret already. So let's grab a secret right off of that, which is the dodecahedron around Z's neck contains the compass that can take characters to the lab in the morning. So I think that's sort of a final, and I gotta spice it up a bit, but there's going to be a location inside the morning that's going to be like the final big dungeon place. And part of it is like a Kenneth laboratory, but I think maybe it's like a Kenneth laboratory that's been touched by Kyber, right? So it's got like weird, it's going to be a mixture of like artificer technology and strange alien stuff from Kyber. I'm just thinking of this off the top of my head. But so I want to build like a big sort of, almost like a Tomb of the Nine Gods style mega dungeon that they kind of get into in their final days when they're deep in the morning, and that'll be high level, or medium, tier, end of tier 2 level dungeon. And I think that its location is very well hidden, but that Z's father knows where it is and had a compass made that actually is one of the only things that do. And I think the Emerald Claw knows that Z has this. A Sith Wayfinder. Yeah, exactly. Like a Sith Wayfinder. It's a good thing that Rey happened to be standing in exactly the right spot on the ground when she held that dagger up and was able to see the outline of the crashed Death Star, to see that was where she needed to go. Because if she was like 40 feet off in either direction, it wouldn't have lined up. If she was too far back, it wouldn't have lined up. You have to be standing in the right spot, right? And I think even Goonies, which had that exact same thing, had a certain spot you had to stand in to be able to see they thought it through, right? But I think in Goonies they had to stand in a certain spot. And in Rey, she's like in the middle of a big open field, and she's like, "Hey, look, my dagger lines up with the Death Star." It's like, what? Ugh, sad. So I kind of like that movie, and I don't know. I think the Force works in mysterious ways. Sure, the Force has you stand in the right spot at the right time. If the Force had a mysterious way, she wouldn't need a dagger. She'd just know it, right? She'd just feel it over there. Hell, her simulacrum was over there too with the crazy switchblade lightsaber. So anyway, so the Emerald Claw knows Z has this. The Emerald Claw is aware of this. They've received information, and they're trying to but they know that it can't just be. If they got it, they'd never be able to open it. So the Emerald Claw is trying to get the word. To open to open Z's dodecahedron. Okay, so we got some secrets about the dodecahedron going on there. Z is an artificer, House Civis, and we have Shift, who is played by Juliet, a Warforged warlock, Pact of the Undying, human experiment with life extension and expansion from House Kenneth. Got replacement organs, fully replacement organ. I don't think I need to have all that. Trying to find her humanity, is alive but doesn't know why. Still meets with House Kenneth reps, and is missing 24 hours of her life, and doesn't know why. I don't need to have the outfits anymore. I kept the outfits because they were at a dinner party, but we don't need to keep the outfits anymore. We have Saber, played by Brian, who's a long-tooth shifter monk and bounty hunter. Really is interested in the Temple of Balinor, and I think we're gonna expand upon Saber's background and information today. And today's adventure is going to be mostly there. We have Shane Husk, a hobgoblin wizard, crime novelist, sage, wrote a best-selling book about the Mornland and wants to see if they can do it again. Previously served with the heirs of Dakan as a military strategist and historian. Ancestors fought in the Great War, retired early to a career, and is looking to write the next best novel to see if he can make lightning strike again. We have Banner, played by Joe, a Warforged paladin who's following the Becoming God. I definitely want to have more ties to this. I think this is going to have a bigger background in the Mourning. Sort of two different factions of Warforged. You have your Lord of Blades on one side, and you have the Warforged, the Becoming God, in the other. We have what else? Searching for cover for the components of the Godhead. We have Zarin Tyr, a Tempest Storm Cleric, Mark of the Storm, Independent Scion, Wandslinger from House Larandar, apprentice Windwright after managing to bend an airship and during docking, and was given over to, kind of told, hey, go off on your own for a while and disappear. So they disappeared. So those are the characters. So which one of these characters has the closest tie to the Dask? Saber might. Juliet or Shift, probably not. Z, probably not. Banner, probably not. Shane Husk, maybe. And I don't know about Zarin Tyr, but perhaps the shifter from Dask is a fan of Shane Husk. And has like her copy of the book, and So who is this shifter? It is a let's go to the right thing here. Why isn't there we go? Don't need that anymore. Go to links and names. And what do we names? Fane Duskhair. Duskhair is kind of weird, isn't it? Dusk Chaser. Lion Hair. I like something hair. Tristana, gold house. Tristana's a good name, so we're gonna go with Tristana. Emerald hair. So what, actually, before I just go running grabbing random names, what do they, I often have names. This is a changeling. What do changelings name themselves? Changeling may use different names for each mask. That's right. Fluid relationship with gender. But I like the single, so Triss. And probably just Triss, right? Changeling ambassador of Dask. Messenger of Cavella. And fan of Shane. And she likes to, she wants to come, so the strong start is that she comes riding in, meet Triss. Fan of Shane Husk comes riding in on a manticore. Is there another? A chimera would be pretty badass, wouldn't it? Sort of a show of force. Comes riding in on a chimera and then walks in and delivers a message that says that you saved a friend of mine, Simon, and my employer would like to meet with you down in the cogs, and it won't be easy. And let's see, that's a pretty big entrance to come in, like, you know, if you're like a sly person, you probably wouldn't come in on a, what if she, I like it better that she's a little, how about instead of comes riding in on a chimera, she comes in with 2 invisible stalkers, right? Invisible stalkers are nasty. So they're like her bodyguards, right? So she's kind of walking around the streets, but she has bodyguards, and the bodyguards are invisible stalkers. And the characters will know that they're there, and it's like she's not worried about them, but you know, you never know when things on the street are gonna go bad. And all the people, they're like, holy cow, that's Triss, like, you know. So Triss is known to the brigands that now work for the characters as their baristas. So there are multiple many tribes seeking power. Oh, somebody had a good idea. What if she has an aberrant dragon mark and summons the stalkers with the mark? That's a great idea. Thank you, Snark Knight. So yeah, and invisible stalkers, their challenge rating is pretty high, I think, and they're just bad. Invisible stalkers are so, they're you know, a trick with the invisible stalker is that they are not liked by by players, and for a couple of reasons. They're really hard to deal with, and they have a lot of immunities. They have resistance to non-magical weapons. They have 100 hit points. Now they're CR6, right? That's crazy powerful, like CR6. And could she be a warlock? Maybe we'll make her a warlock, right? She's got warlock powers, so she's not she's not anything wimpy either. Maybe she just has one of these bodyguard. Like 2 would be a lot. 2 CR6s. That's a lot of challenge level right there. That's 24 character levels worth of monster just with these 2. So probably has 1 invisible stalker. We'll just make it a little bit more realistic. But yeah, the idea that she has a dragon mark. And that dragon mark probably has multiple powers too. It can make, like, it's all about shifting invisibility and spy stuff, which is why she's so good at her job. And so it probably allows her to do greater invis and fairy fire and stuff like that. Kind of warlocks do we have here? We have Warlock of the Archfey. That's probably not so bad. That probably is a good one for this. Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, Warlock of the Archfey. That's her, yeah. 11th level spellcaster. So she's pretty powerful. Yeah. So we have that intro, multiple factions within the Dask. So what are there any other secrets they might learn about the Dask from there? They could learn that she's an aberrant dragon marked. You could learn that. So I don't need a bunch of secrets just on that beginning, but yeah. So she's going to come in and she's going to invite the party to meet with Cavella in 2 days. And gives a rough map, but tells him that's not going to be easy. So yeah, now we've got another faction that we're introducing. Another slice, which is the Dask. That offers up some things. So scenes, we have meet with Triss, head to Fallen. I think I have an interesting idea for an NPC. So I think that the followers of Soul, lay prostrate in front of the characters. They've met these guys before, but now I think Soul has learned that the so who's Soul? Soul is a fallen, what do they call him? A fallen idol? It's called a radiant idol. Radiant idol who lives in Fallen. A radiant idol is an angel that was banished from the celestial realm and is now down on the material plane. And he has so there's one of these called Soul, and there's a bunch of people in Fallen who worship Soul as a god, and they're cannibals. And they went after the characters the first time the characters came through, and they saw Soul on the side. But I think Soul saw them too, and realized that I think Soul is like watching the stream of the Draconic prophecy fly by, right? And maybe even has like a connection to it. Maybe they broke the stream, which is why they were fallen. But I think that Soul sees them and sees that there's there's a destiny there. And so the followers of Soul have started to learn that they're sort of these, they have a destiny too. So I think that will be a cool little, visit along the way. So they had the fallen, the followers lay prostrate. They go to the, fallen temple of Balinor. The Emerald Claw has been using the fallen temple of Balinor as a conduit to, I cheated a little bit. I read some Eberron stuff this morning in preparation, but I had some thoughts and ideas, and so I just did a little bit of homework. To one of the planes, and that plane, I think Mabar is the endless night, swallows even the brightest day, most undead animate power. So they, as a conduit to Mabar, the Temple of Balinor once had a portal, or a conduit, not really a portal, to, because they have these, what do they call them? Manifest zones, right? To the Twilight Forest. Yeah, to Lamania. So there's like this nature, druids, animals, lycanthropes, they're all home, the Twilight Forest. Yeah, the temple sort of had this conduit that came in here. And the Emerald Claw twisted it and broke it and turned it into a portal, a conduit to Mabar. And they're using it to kind of draw, to build undead. And they've probably sent a bunch of undead. They have a bunch of undead that they've energy that they've already used. And it isn't the only conduit. There's probably another one. So that way there's some other, there's some other options there. So, what other secrets could come from here? Oh, so I already have that the Emerald Claw knows Z has the thing. The Emerald Claw is trying to get the word to open Z's dodecahedron so that they can find it. The Emerald Claw, plans to steal the Eberron. They plan to steal the Eberron Dragon Shard. They want it. And they also EC also plans to find the Book of Colseer. So they want the Emerald Claw's plan is to build a weapon as powerful as the Weapon of the Morning. In order to do so, they need three things. They need the Book of Colseer, which is the Book of Destruction. They need the Eberron Dragon Shard, which they believe is held by Leto Skal, and that's true. And they need the location of the I need a name for this place. Man, names suck. But I think for homework I'm going to come up with a good name. But they want to find the lab, the Claw Rift or whatever. The place in the Mourning where House Kenneth built the first, or somebody, maybe it was House Kenneth, maybe not. And they what? So they want to find the laboratory. When they have the laboratory, the shard, and the book, they think that they can conduct a ritual, or they think they'll get enough priests together to conduct a ritual to build a hugely powerful weapon. And the EC probably... The Emerald Claw also believes the drum are likely seeking such a power and may have access to a different shard. Would have an official name? Would have an official name or a secret name? Probably. But I just want a cool name. If we're gonna have like an end game dungeon, like Clawspire or I don't know, something like that. Some cool name. That that I can drop on the players now, so they realize like, oh, that's our end game dungeon, right? That's where we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to find it. We're gonna have to get there. We're gonna have to destroy it or take it down or whatever. So we'll see. Is there anything other bits of this particular dungeon that we have in mind? I don't know. We'll come back. We have enough secrets for now. So fantastic locations. I already have information about Fallen. I can do a quick one. So Fallen has massive statue heads, crumbling temples, and what else? Impaled, half-eaten corpses. That's pretty nice and dark. The temple itself so what is the entrance that is that they discovered? It's sort of in the back of the temple. So like, what if it's like, almost like tree roots that broke through? Dead thorned vines. So like there was wildlife in here, or not. Well, yeah, wild sort of, wild growth in here, but the wild growth is now all dead after it was turned into Mabar. In fact, an undead shambling mound would be pretty cool. Dead thorn vines. What other kind of bestial statues? And shifter corpses. So that's the general gist of kind of main attributes to keep in mind, that I can keep in mind when I'm sort of describing this place. Then we have the map for the ruined temple. Let's move this up. Now let's take a look. I think I already opened this up. I think it was on my screen when I started. There it is. So, what would the entrance to this place? What kind of entrance should it have been? Well, people notice. So the problem is like they're breaking in from a different side. I was going to use this map and I like it a lot, but but the front, I already mentioned that the front door of the place had collapsed and that they couldn't get in that way and that there was another way in. And I could drop another way in here. I could have something from like the south side there where they came in. Or I could look for a different map. Let's look at other maps real quick here. And let's see what we find. Hey, I've used that one a bunch. I already used that one. That one's, yeah. I was going to use that one for the crypts. I also don't want it to be very big because I really don't want him to spend more than like a day on this. This isn't so bad. And it looks like there's a couple of different ways in. Let's take a look at this. So let's see. We've got those cool standing stones. Maybe that's where the portal is in that upper right chamber. That's also where the claw, maybe the claw is there. The emerald claw. So the front entrance could be this on the left, but they could have actually broken in from the south. You could have all this oozy stuff that came in here. Like, the whole place is sort of flooded. That ruin kind of works. Maybe back in here and the upper left is where the gate is. And that's what they have to close. The claw is kept in the upper right. And that might be pretty cool. Yeah, I think this is going to work. We're going to use this guy instead. Whoops. So let me copy this, copy image, and let me go into my Google Docs, and we'll go into my slides, and I have a Sunday D&D here, and I'm going to make a new insert. How do you add a new slide? New slide, and we get rid of that. And we paste in, will it paste? Copy. Come on, work. I don't know. We'll do that later. So normally I'll be able to paste it in. I think sometimes these maps are so big that they don't fit. But I'll stick the map in there, and that way I can put tokens in there. But I've got a map, and that's good. So what else? I don't need any other stuff here. My cat desperately wants to get inside. Come on, kitty. What are you gonna do? Just gonna lie there? Oh, cats. So, I think we're all set there with locations. NPCs, I'm pretty good. Oh, there's one other NPC I want to do. So I have Triss, but I want to have a former member of Soul who has escaped. And this poor chap, whose name is, what are we going to name him? Murtho. Murtho the Marked. And Murtho has part of the Draconic Prophecy. Has part of the Draconic, he's crazy, right? He's off kilter. And he has part of the Draconic Prophecy tattooed on his back and chest. But half of it has been taken, and he has new skin where half of it had been taken off. But if all of it's taken, he'll die. And he escaped into the temple, but now is trapped there. And Soul wants the rest of it. But it'll kill him to do it, so he ran. And he escaped in the temple, and so far no one has been able to find him. So I think he will be a fun NPC that the characters can interact with inside of this, and they can learn more about, there's like bits of the Draconic Prophecy that can act as a act as a vehicle for secrets and clues. What are you doing, kitty? Stop it. Come here, you. Come here. Why do you scratch into the walls? Oh. So that will work. Yeah, so I think NPC-wise, I'm all set there. So monsters, we have Knoll Witherlings, Psychic Gray Oozes, Minotaur Skeletons, and I think we're going to have an undead an undead shambling mound, and probably some mercenaries of, or I guess we'll have a cult fanatic of, maybe a priest. We'll do a priest. Priest of the Emerald Claw. And probably a couple of Emerald Claw mercenaries, but mostly undead. Maybe it'll just be the priest and the undead. A couple of whites. Oh, maybe a ghoul assassin. That'd be a fun one. Because I think we're going to have ghoul assassins are going to be one of the weapons of the Emerald Claw. Lead to Skull's Vault is kind of done. Tower 6 and Morgrave. I'll keep that around, but I probably don't need it right now. So let's see. What are people saying in chat here? I haven't been paying any attention to chat. For a shifter and British officer fanboy from the Third Man. Aberron Dragonmark was awesome. It's like a stone golem you can't see. Yeah, Radiant Idol. They can hear you. What did it have an official name? With a clock at the cafe, does it go backward when it's midnight or when it's midnight in the world? I don't know. They made that up, so I'll let the characters decide. Kenneth Advanced Technologies. It's like North Central Positronics from the Dark Tower series. Played D&D for 40 years. I have basics down. I kind of understanding what's going on, but can someone tell me, what am I watching? Yeah. Thank you for coming. And probably your best bet about seeing how all this works is to look at other videos on YouTube where I go through this. But basically, you're watching me prepping for a game. That's a short. And then you're watching me prepping for a game by using steps from the book Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. And there's all sorts of links to that below, including videos where I go through it. Other people are helping out. Cheers, thanks. Take some time to catch up and grasp it all. Yeah. So I'm just going through. I'm running an Eberron game today, and I'm going through my preparation for how to get that game ready. And I like to do it online with my friends and talk to people, and get ideas. So it works out. Man, my head keeps getting lower and lower and lower. I gotta sit up in my chair. Maybe move the camera down just a touch. There we go. So now you can see my mic though. I can move the mic. Yeah, so I think we're set there. I've got, so I have an article coming out on Monday about using monster templates. So I think in this case, we're gonna make an undead shambling mound, because I think that's pretty cool. Shambling mounds, I think they're a little bit, no, CR5 is pretty tough. 136 multi-attacks. 2 slam attacks. If both hits, they grapple. The slam attacks are for a lot. Is there a particular type of undead? I guess a zombie? So let's take a look at zombies. So really, the one feature that the shambling mound would get from a zombie, they get the undead trait, obviously. Turn undead might work on them, I guess. But in this place, because of the negative energy, it would have advantage on its save. And I think it has undead fortitude, right? So we're basically going to give the shambling mound undead fortitude on top of its other abilities, and the fact that it is a undead plant. I think that will be, and it's guarding the claw, right? So like the claw is inside, like it is sort of wrapped itself around the claw. They can feel it in there, and it will just, beat up people and engulf people. It's challenge 5, and they are 4th level now. 5 4th level characters is 20 quartered is 5, so that's exactly on par with their maybe the shambling mound vomits out zombies. We could throw some, could be where the psychic oozes are. That might be kind of cool. I think we're okay though. I really need to turn this plugin off. Remove from Chrome. And did that work? Now if I reload, yeah, look at that. I got a nice clean stat block. I had Beyond 20 going, but I don't really use Beyond 20. Yeah, so I think that'd be cool. Undead Shambling Mound with zombie traits. And so I'm set there. So this other little odds and ends that I have my notes are, I have my Avray command for setting up an initiative, a one-line initiative macro. That works really well. That way I can roll initiative for the entire group all at once. And so far nobody's really complained. And boy, it's fast. It's real quick to roll initiative for a group this way, and then immediately get into it. And then I have my one-dimensional text-based combat markdown map. And this, so I could do, for example, I could set up a few, this is almost like the equivalent of setting tokens out on a map. If we go look at the map, this one's really a basic one. There's the Shambling Mound and the Standing Stones. So I don't have to worry about that. Here at the portal, might be a couple of different locations. I guess I'm not really gonna worry about it too much on setting this out. I think where they come in, the gray oozes will be both west and north. I don't know what would be at that central altar right in the center. That might be an interesting place to put something. Maybe another magic item. And how did the Emerald Claw get in? Right? I suppose that maybe they have another entrance, maybe that one to the north. So the characters come in from the south. The Emerald Claw came in from the north. The Emerald Claw has basically been focused on the portal over in the west. So that would be a couple of, that will work out. But an altar to Balinor, and maybe the altar has been, another altar to Balinor, and maybe there's some other artifacts there. But when the Emerald Claw have come in and taken it. So, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Yeah, so let's see, I don't really need this anymore. This is an example of like the battle where you have the docks and the disc and this sort of stuff, and fighting the rug. They're just like a quick way to show like who's in what area. This really works well as like a zone system. So, thank you for the subscription. Wow, gifting was your new subscription, first gift to the channel. Appreciate that. I don't know how that subscriptions work and how the gifts work, but thank you for that. That's very cool. Yeah, okay, so let's add one more interesting location. So it's an altar to Balinor, right? So maybe, so this is something we could definitely tie closely to, maybe the dragon marked guy is hanging out here. He's hiding in here. And, so he's not going to have, I don't think the weapon is in here. This isn't, is this where the claw was sitting on that altar? No, I think that the claw is better off in that crypt, and that there's like the five different types, like druids and monks and everything that kind of hung out in that they were buried in that upper hidden area. And that's where the claw is. And now it's been corrupted by it's been corrupted by the necrotic energy that's been going out there. So I think of the altar, is there a way to tie into the other characters? Can that altar, can I somehow use something from the other characters here? Nothing's jumping right out at me. So it's one of these things where like you can put logic and reason into it, but sometimes people don't care. So like if you have an altar, and maybe that's where more psychic oozes are, or whatever, and there's an artifact on the altar. So the artifact could be a Emerald Claw artifact that was left there to kind of, hold the energy down. And that could be sort of a powerful single-use magic item. So let's try that. where's my location? So I got the Fallen Temple Balinor, and we have and on the altar, negative energy is flowing through the altar. And there's a powerful item. So let's go to our relic generator here. Relics. And I like to do it by level range, and then I like to go about halfway down because we want to cast something you want a spell that's higher than they are. They're 4th. So Dwarven Cup that casts Mass Healing Word, for example, is a good one. I think I want a more dangerous one. Conjure Elementals, Wall of Fire. This, I think I want one that does like a necrotic spell. Now I've done Circle of Death before. Finger of Death isn't so bad. It's a power that, so you're given a 7th level spell. What are some good necrotic spells we can use? Let's go to spells, game rules, spells, wizard spells. They have it by school. Show advanced filters. Where do I go to spells by school? I guess you can just go to search, right? Spells. I thought there was a advanced search. Ugh. I need a list of necrotic spells. Must be a spell school. Dude, necromancy. Filter. And we will go the other direction. We will go 9th down. So we probably want so Blight. So Blight would be great, right? I mean, that makes perfect sense. 4th level spell. Creature of your choice. Con save, 8d8 or on a failed or half. If you target a plant, creature, or a magical plant, it makes a saving throw a disadvantage, and the spell deals maximum damage to it. So maybe they could use this against the Shambling Mound. So I think that's a pretty cool one. So then what's the relic itself? A Gothic skull, pristine Gothic skull. So it could be like this obsidian skull sitting on the altar. So pristine, Gothic skull with a glyph on its forehead. And its mouth is open and like liquid is pouring out of its mouth over the altar. That's gross, right? And it will stop when you lift it off of it. And then one who uses it can cast Blight once. Single-use magic items are a really nice reward. There's almost an infinite variety of effects you can do with them, and they don't overpower the game because they can only be used once. So players dig them. They feel like a magic item. They don't feel as good as a real magic item, but they definitely feel pretty good. And I've beat the crap out of this group with black pudding, so it makes sense. You could have that, like the area around is a black pudding. But boy, they're so used to fighting black puddings. But maybe it's a black pudding. Yeah. So like the liquid that's pouring out is like it's created this black pudding over the altar. That might be pretty good. The most memorable one was when they went into Trollskull Manor in in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and they were clearing it out from all the ghostly stuff. And the guy, one of them was a noble, and he's like, I get the nice bedroom with the bathroom that's inside. And then he went to the bathroom and he looked in the toilet, and a black pudding reached out of the toilet and pulled him in, and they all freaked out, and it was really nasty. So we always joke that like there's never a toilet in any dungeon that isn't filled with a black pudding or an Otyugh. So that'll be fun. What else? And the crazy guy in the corner, he's like pointing at them. That could be a good time too. So yeah, so I think, you know, this is gonna be a nice straightforward one today. I don't think we're gonna have any problems with it. I just want to make sure that one of the options. So this is something I need to think more about in the campaign overall. Maybe we'll do a little bit of it right now. Instead of just sitting and staring at the ceiling and talking about it, let's do something about it. So we have like adventure options, right? What are big pieces of the adventure? So like I'm running my own campaign, which means I can do whatever the hell I want. And I want to have the campaign driven from the characters, right? So, So, for example, Z wants to find the word from her father to open the dodecahedron, which leads to Claw Rift. Is Claw Rift a thing? Yeah, Claw Rift is a deep center of the city. What is Claw Rift? Oh. I don't think anybody remembers that. Does anybody remember that there's a thing called Claw Rift in Menzo Branson? It's kind of unfortunate. Claw Spire. I think we're going to call it Claw Spire. That's a cool name. Except you have the Emerald Claw. Okay, so that is one. Shift is the secret for Shift is that her life was given to her by Lady Elmaro of the Emerald Claw. So they know her. And she may have to face so there's some adventure options there. Saber, we're doing his right now. But he was I think the gods in Eberron have a light touch. A light touch with the characters. But we'll have like maybe his background is he's more connected to the Draconic Prophecy. So the big thing with Shane Husk is that lots of people know or don't know his books. But maybe he has clues in his books that help him in the group find Clawspire. I'm calling it Clawspire now. I don't know if I'm going to keep that name. Banner, we definitely want to have a Meet the Godforged. They meet the So Banner's going to meet the Godforged, which are the followers of the Becoming God. And in the morning, get involved between... And there could be some fun connections between the Godforged and the Lord of Blades. Zarentyr. Was born at Stormhome. I don't know Stormhome. Island City, seat of House Larendir, and Queen Aluria allows the house free reign in governing the isle. Finest resort vacation spot. I don't know. I need more here. I'm not allowed to leave until I get at least one adventure hook. So there could be about a House Larendir airship. Oh, come on. So we could have like his father show up and kind of get involved, and maybe, maybe acquires a House Larendir airship. So what if father is an Aurum Silver Ringer who disapproves of Zarentyr's and believes that they should work with Lido Skull. And the father has an airship called the Goldbright. And maybe they can steal it. Yeah, so I want to tie some adventures directly to the backgrounds of the characters, and that's what I'm trying to do here, is add little adventure options for each character so that, these can be ways to kind of tie them closer in. So just seeds, right? I'm just dropping some seeds in, get them into my brain, review them when I'm reviewing the characters, see if anything else comes out, and then when I think about the game I'm about to run, I say, can I drop one of these seeds in, or can I use this to sort of shift the direction the game takes? I think that would be great. So Grant Ellis, hey Grant, how are you? Check me out. I'm a Warforged Paladin. Oh no, Joe Banner's here. Leave. Ellis Party 4. Thank you for subscribing. So I think that is it for today. I think I am all set. I have a nice dungeon. I have some stuff. I'm going to put the map into the view and then put some tokens on it, and then I'll be all set. So, yeah. So I want to thank everybody for coming today once again. Grant is tired. Just finished my word goals for the day. Finish your word goals. It's 11 o'clock. Have a great day. Enjoy, and hopefully you have a chance to
hop online and play some D&D with some friends. So give it a shot. And I will see all of you guys again next week. Have a great day.